ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। तपोवन प्रसाद मैगजीन नवंबर 2025। कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति। तपोवन उवाच I am the free, immortal and blissful spirit is realization. Hail to thee, O realization, that driveth away all dark desires and lighteth up life. Guru Dhyanam. Okay, contents. God within, empty chase without. Swami Chinmayananda. Kathopanishad, Swami Chinmayananda. Beyond FOMO, courageously crafting tomorrow. Swami Surupananda. Is Bhagavad Gita outdated? Swami Pranavananda. Since science meets Vedanta on Prarabdha and Purushartha, Appara Mukhamala. Mananam from study to science. One Parvati Raman. The light that I am. Vikram Modaraka. Chinmay Vijaya Annual Report 2024-2025. Mission Music Chennai, Delhi. Front cover photograph of the Lone Cypress by Shri Pankaj Tandon, California, USA. Lone Cypress. Prayer. मयूरादिरूढं महावाक्यगूढं मनोहारिदेहं महच्चित्तगेहं महीदेवदेवं महावेदभावं महादेवबालं भजे लोकपालम्. I worship the son of Mahadev, who is mounted on peacock, who is the secret meaning embedded in the Mahavakyas, who has the form that captivates our mind, who dwells in the minds of the wise, who is worshipped by kings, who is the essence of the great Vedas, and who is the protector of the world. Shri Subramanyam Bhujanga Stotram, verse 3, Adi Shankaracharya. Guru Dhyanam. पुरस्तात् पार्श्वयोः पृष्ठे नमस्कुर्यादुपर्यधः सदा मच्चित्तरूपेण विधेहि भवदासनम्. One should bow to the Guru from the front and back, from the sides, from above and below. I pray to the Guru to bless me by being always seated in my heart. Guru Gita 3.98. Jaako raakhein saiyan, steadfast in storms. Editorial. A few months ago, on the 17-mile drive in California, I came across the Lone Cypress at Pebble Beach, featured on our cover. Perched precariously on a granite ridge, the tree, shaped by wind and ocean spray for centuries, stood in solitary splendor. By all natural reasoning, it should not exist. The earth beneath is fragile, and the winds are unrelenting. Yet against all odds, it survives. In that moment, Kabir Dasji's celebrated couplet flashed through my mind. जाको राखे साइयाँ मार सके ना कोई. He whom the Lord protects, none can harm. The tree's survival was not accidental, it was a matter of endurance, a beautiful testimony of His grace. At first, Sant Kabir's words appear as a promise of divine protection, but they go deeper. Protection is not only something that comes from outside, it emerges from remaining true to one's nature until even wind, rain, and sea become allies rather than enemies. This eternal wisdom is preserved in Manusmriti, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitah. Dharma, when protected, protects. When we cultivate virtuous values and cheerfully carry out our responsibilities, when we live in harmony with Dharma, when we surrender with faith and devotion to the divine will, the world appears less hostile. Storms do not disappear, they carry us. Winds do not subside, they help us grow and stand taller. True protection is not the absence of difficulties, it is in the inner fortitude that comes from living in alignment with one's principles. Once we are established in righteousness, tribulations lose their sting. They become the very trials that shape and strengthen us. Then Dharma itself becomes our unbreachable armor, guarding us through life's challenges and relentless storms, illuminating our path like sunlight piercing turbulent tempest. God within, empty chase without. An article by Param Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. The talk has been transcribed and edited from a rare series of discourses on chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita given by Puja Gurudev at Siddhabadi, India in 1986. This can be viewed on Chinmay channel YouTube. In the last few verses, we saw how the Lord tries to throw light upon the sacred relationless relationship between the actionless self and activity and the active not self, using diverse analogies. The cosmic president. Oh, he continues, O Kaunteya, this entire Jagat is moving on only because of my vibrant presence. Maya Dakshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. Consider the example of the president. Even though he seems to have no power over what is happening in a meeting, one thing he is certain: the moment he gets up and goes behind the curtain, the meeting is dissolved. It cannot continue without him. While he is present, he may appear helpless, but if he gets up and leaves, the meeting is closed. After that, any resolutions passed are not valid. Why? Because the president's signature is not there. Full stop. Likewise, when Narayan leaves, You are hero. When Narayan is present, you can do anything. He will not interfere whether you choose to blast your life or make it. It is perfectly alright. In every verse, it is emphasized that without knowledge of Bhagavan's nature, his relationship with the world, your belief cannot evolve into faith. Without faith, no progress is ever possible. Otherwise, you might expect Narayan to be your personal assistant and order him around. He has never fed anybody. You must get the food, cook and eat it yourself. However, the ability to gather, cook, eat and digest is all because of him, Mayadhyakshena. Bhagavad Gita 9.10. This is the essence of the relationless relationship. His unforsaking presence. When I descend in my personal form, deluded persons are unable to recognize me. They do not know the divinity of my personality as the Supreme Lord of all beings. अवजानन्ति मां मूढ़ा मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरम्. The Lord condemns people who do not recognize Him as Mudhaha. This word signifies not just an ordinary fool, but a most terrible fool, because he is so near them. Without him, they can't even claim that there is no God. These fools think that God is somewhere above the clouds or in Kailash. You have exiled him far away so you can continue your crimes. You undertake pilgrimages to Badrinath, to Mecca or Medina, not recognizing that he is so near. Manushim tanu mashritam. I am ever sheltered in, functioning through your own body, within you. The Lord is nearer to you than everything else, because everything else is outside. He categorically states, I am the nearest, I live within you. Where will you go? Yet you come to me and complain, Swamiji, I am God forsaken. If God forsakes you, what will be your condition? May God never forsake you, because I will have to carry you then. To be for God forsaken is to be immediately buried. But you continue, I am God forsaken. God does not want me. God is angry with me. God is angry. God can't afford it. But Swamiji, I am a very great sinner. There is no God in me. I am a very great sinner. Even if you commit the most atrocious sin, it is not about you leaving God. Rather, God cannot leave you. Think, it is not a question of the fish leaving the ocean, but the ocean cannot leave the company of the fish, because fish exist in the ocean. The ocean cannot say, the fish are smelling. It is awful, strange, awful strange. I don't like the fish. Think, Narayana is caught up in you. He has to suffer your sins. He can only whisper in your ears, hey, don't do that, don't do that. But you don't listen. Think, Narayana says, I am always in your body itself, not somewhere far away. In your body means you can realize me right within you, not outside, which seems far. Its nearest point in you is me. I am in the core of everybody. How far is a waker from the dreamer? How far is the gold from the ornament? How far is the ocean from the wave? So far are you from the God. Why is it that I am not able to understand? At this moment, you know only your lower nature. You are identified with the BMI, PFT, and OET. You don't know your own higher nature, Param Bhavam, which is nothing but me, as Bhuta Maheshwaram. I am the Lord of the entire universe, of every name and form. Where I am not, the world cannot exist. I am the very existence in everything. I am the very consciousness in everybody and the source of all happiness in every individual. Satchidananda. I am ever present everywhere. Everyone exists in me. I am not in them. They don't know me. The Lord of all the forms, the Lord of all forms and names. Everything exists in me and draws the nurture and nourishment from me. I am within you, nearest to you, alas. The empty cup of desire. The poor student is startled. Why is it so? He questions. Bhagavan points out that such people are fascinated by the shining bright tinsel of the world of objects, women, wine, money, position, status, the mighty ego and its passions and lusts. मोघाशा मोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानाविशेतसः राक्षसीं आसुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः. Bewildered by the material energy, such persons embrace demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded state, their hopes for welfare are in vain, their efforts in actions are wasted, and their culture of knowledge is baffled. At this point, you may ask, what is wrong if I don't understand the higher nature? What's the issue with it? I am comfortable here. I have a good education, a decent job, a beautiful wife, two chubby children. I drive a long car, have all the latest electronic equipments, and my house is beautifully furnished. Why would I pursue Paramatman or this higher nature? What is wrong with living a lower nature? Those who don't have all of this might feel miserable. Let them explore the higher nature, but don't bother me. I am comfortable. What's wrong with being limited? The Lord explains that when you live according to your lower nature, you encounter tragedies such as vain desires or moghasha. And these desires compel you to put in a lot of effort. Think back to a desire you fulfilled earlier in life, whether in childhood, youth, or middle age. In retrospect, that desire often seemed seems insignificant. As long as your desires remain unfulfilled, the excitement is almost unbearable. However, once they materialize, you may find yourself wondering, is this all there is it is? Is this all there is to it? They were so insignificant. What seemed like it would bring joy, contentment, and fulfillment often turns out to be disappointing. It simply evaporates upon achievement. Consider your experience of the 10th board exams. When you pass, it feels like just another milestone because nearly every student passed in your school. You convince yourself that you will be incredibly happy once you complete your BA. You can write on your calling card Narasimha Gupta BA. Yet, when you finally achieved that goal, the exhilaration you anticipated just isn't there. Then comes the MA degree and the PhD. Soon thoughts turn toward marriage. A vision of a beautiful, educated bride with a prosperous father in law begins to take shape. Yet, the moment she enters your life, regret creeps in. You wonder if your mother was right all along, that an uneducated village girl might have been the wiser choice. Desire after desire leaves you restless, never truly fulfilled. Next comes the long awaited promotion. This is it, you think. My moment has arrived. But as the little title settles on your desk, so do the burdens, the endless responsibilities, the relentless pressures. The same disillusionment returns, only wearing a new mask. And then there is the long cherished wish to visit Siddhavadi. You arrive with lofty expectations, only to find yourself longing for home instead, bogged down with 3 to 4 classes a day, battling cold, fever, and stomach troubles. Just as one ailment departs, another takes its place. By seeking fulfillment through desire, you can never truly find satisfaction, for what you are truly searching for is the highest. Chasing shadows of satisfaction. A child is hungry, crying for his milk bottle. In that desperate moment, when a finger brushes his lips, he mistakes it for the nipple. He sucks his thumb, but there is no milk, only the act of sucking without satisfaction. Frustrated, he tries again. Each time he cries, the finger comes and goes, but never brings the nourishment he seeks. Slowly, through his tears, the child realizes there is no milk here, only empty effort. We are that child. What we truly crave is reality itself, the infinite bliss, the boundless happiness. Yet, instead of seeking that ultimate truth, we get distracted by petty, paltry things, objects and emotions, and thoughts that promise delight but deliver disappointment. Each time we chase these false desires, we are made into suckers. We end up full, left empty, muttering to ourselves, this is not what I wanted. I don't even know what I want. Chasing hollow pursuits, we act on false hopes. All the sweat and toil is wasted effort, isn't it? That is mogha karmanah, actions driven by vain desires, leading to wasted labor and wasted life. Think of the pursuit of knowledge. You struggle through your BSc, then MSc, then spend years in research under the guidance of another scholar. Eventually, differences arise and you branch out with a new mentor, starting your own lab. Years of research culminate in a published paper, boldly declaring a groundbreaking theory. Water makes you wet. Applause follows. Your name is linked with the so called Gupta theory. Conferences invite you, and the scientific community honors you. Yet, on the day of your retirement, the same colleagues who once applauded remain silent. Just the day before, your celebrated theory was proven false. The work of a lifetime is dismissed as irrelevant. This is Mogha Jnana, knowledge that seemed valid at one moment but collapses in the next. Science itself progresses this way. Old theories fall, new ones rise. What was once lauded as truth is later discarded as error. Even in daily life, we see it. Parents, both well educated, find themselves baffled when their children ask questions about modern mathematics. Mom, how is this problem solved? I don't know, she admits. But you said you are a mathematics graduate. Yes, son, but this is modern mathematics. I can't make sense of it. What once shown as knowledge is exposed as ignorance. And so it is with all your vain pursuits. Desires prove hollow. Actions turn futile. Knowledge reveals its own impermanence. When this dawns on us, despair is natural, for we recognize too late that what we thought was wisdom was nothing but fragments of ignorance dressed in borrowed brilliance. The chaos within. Vichetasaha refers to the mind and intellect. It is the condition where one reaches a point of giving up on thinking altogether. Why? Because it feels pointless. Throughout life, so much efforts has gone into planning, designing, and executing projects, only to watch them collapse. Years of study and research now seem hollow, leaving the mind confused, bewildered, vichetasaha. Such a person reaches a stage where through itself, where thought itself feels futile, having invested tirelessly in dreams and endeavors. He finds them crumbling before his own eyes. The knowledge he once took in, pride in now appears empty, and his mind is left adrift in confusion, vichetasaha. When faith in yourself diminishes, how will you respond? Frustration soon turns outward, manifesting as anger towards society, the world, nay, life itself. In that state, there is no sense of the higher, everything seems chaotic and meaningless. The article is to be continued. Now here are some good thoughts and quotes from Param Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda Ji. In Hinduism, your greatness lies not in what you possess, but in what you do with what you possess. An intelligent seeker should strive hard by all the means at his disposal to be free from the bondage of births and deaths. The Arjun condition of utter despair is the auspicious mental attitude wherein the Gita seeds are to be sown and the flowers of Krishna perfection gathered. We must live in what we believe in. We must act upon our own cherished ideals. We must strive to live our accepted philosophy of life. You can is the confident assurance given by all masters to everyone who has approached them for guidance. A seeker who is striving to integrate himself should walk the path of intelligent living. Without listening to the teachings of a master, no amount of self study in the scriptures will make one a true Vidwan. Glory of spiritual life is not a cry of pessimistic despair. It is the call of hope, urging man to wake up and act, to grow and achieve the highest gain. Let the surface of your living reflect the depth of your personality. As seekers and sincere aspirants to a higher cultural life, you must all learn to translate your ideal picture of yourself into your own workaday life. We have the philosophy and we appreciate the philosophy, and we have true devotion to the culture of our country, and yet we are not able to live up to it because we have never practiced it. A mind divorced from the intellect is a potential hustler. Success depends entirely upon our own understanding and self application. Constantly living in the storms of the mind, we are foreigners to our own spiritual tranquility. Problems arise when we fail to view situations in their right perspective. The readiness to sacrifice the comfort and security of the present to live up to the ideals you have set for yourself is noble. Through diligent practice and sincere pursuit of the nobler values of life, get yourself increasingly attached to the higher and nobler in life. Constantly referring to the magnetometer of inner purity. Selfward gaze and go ahead, full steam, full speed. Play the game of life, but never forget your greater mission in life and, and the ultimate goal you want to achieve. In Vedanta, the student has nothing to do or gain save to hear and truly listen. Godliness is not there yonder, but here within ourselves. Purify your mind, learn the way to turn your mind away from the outer world and find out which direction you should turn your attention to. The disciple shall experience liberation if only he knows the art of listening to the spiritual voice that sings through the Master's words. Each individual must be aware of himself. Try to measure the progress in yourselves and not in any other way. Everything depends on you ultimately. The spiritual program must necessarily be well oiled with patience, consisting of waiting, watching, and praying. All obstructions in our spiritual path are obstructions put up by ourselves. Infinite peace and eternal joy is thy very essential nature. Adjust your inward life and tickle out of it the music of perfection which you are trying to knock out of the rocky earth. Continue the path of spiritual living and end all your misconceptions. How much you have studied is not the question. How much you have moved towards it is what matters here. To remember the Lord all times and act in the world with an awareness that He is the all seer is the most positive spiritual practice for seekers striving to evolve. All spectacular successes were achieved in little courageous steps taken with self confidence and faith in the nobility of the final goal chosen. Unless we have the meekness and spirit to surrender, knowledge cannot reach us. Among the debris of your disappointments, keep Him in mind. Constant vichar upon the meaning of the truth of Vedanta leads one to true knowledge. कठोपनिषद 43 परम पूज्य गुरुजी स्वामी तेजोमयानंद जी. We have seen that Paramatma is the very source of this creation and that Paramatma with the total mind and intellect as Ishwar, the great ruler, the administrator, under whose command the whole world is moving, controls everything with his raised hand, carrying a thunderbolt. People who know this truth are liberated from samsara. ये य एतत् विदुः अमृतास्ते भवन्ति. Now next. इह चेदशकद्बोद्धुं प्राक्शरीरस्य विस्रसः ततः सर्गेषु लोकेषु शरीरत्वाय कल्पते. While living here in this world, in this particular body. If Chet, somebody is able to know this truth, Ashakat Bodhum, before the body drops off Praksharirasya Visrasaha, he is liberated. It is not stated but implied that one who knows this truth, that the Urdhva Paramatma is one's own self, even while living in the body, is liberated. And if one does not know it while living in the body, that jiva is born again and again in the samsara. Tatas sargeshu lokeshu shariratvaya kalpate. The jiva is born as per its knowledge, samskar and karma, yatha karma yatha shrutam. Nobody knows when death will come. Nishvase nahi vishvaso kada ruddho bhavishyati. There is no guarantee that once you breathe out, you will certainly take in the next breath. Though people are in the illusion that they have a lot of time in hand, therefore don't wait and let go of the opportunity to seek the truth. This is a very important mantra, and we should heed the warning given here. If we know the truth while living in the body, we get liberated. If not, then we don't know what body we will get in the next life, human or animal or insect. Even if you are not able to realize the truth while living in the present body, you must at least make all efforts in the direction of purifying the mind and gaining this knowledge. Acquire the Jnana Sampatti, the sixfold wealth, Shat Sampatti. A purified jiva will not be born in any other lower yoni womb. Soon he will get a human body and will continue to seek the body, the truth. This is the assurance of the scriptures, Shastra Vachana. The next mantra tells us that our present body in this world is the best place to get realization. Yatha darshe tathatmani yatha swapne tatha pitruloke yatha supari vadadrushe tatha gandharvaloke chaya tapayoriva brahmaloke. When we look into the reflecting surface of a mirror, which is very clean, we see our reflection very clearly. In the same way, when our mind is purified, in that mind or heart or the buddhi guha, knowledge of the truth takes place very clearly. Yatha darshe tatha atmani. It is interesting to note that even though the mirror is an external object, when we look into it, our attention turns to ourselves and not to the mirror. This is why the Shastra is considered to be a darpanam, mirror. When we study the Upanishad Vidya, even from a book, all our attention turns to ourselves. To the extent the mirror is clean, the reflection is also clear. When the mind is very clean, Shuddha, then there itself one can realize the truth very clearly. Now, a question arises. We have heard of other worlds also. Is it possible to gain realization in those worlds? Yamaraja explains how that experience would be. In the Pitraloka, the world of ancestors, the experience will be like that in a dream. Yatha swapne tatha Pitraloke. Compared to the clarity with which we see objects in the waking state, in the dream they appear rather vague and hazy. Sometimes we don't even recollect the dream clearly. We may remember vaguely what we dreamt. This is because it was a Vasanamaya prapancha. Of course, some people tend to spice up their dream and narrate it with many details. So the knowledge of the truth gained in the Pitraloka remains dreamlike. Further, in the world of Gandharvas, artists, this vision will be like seeing your reflection in the waters. यथाप्सु परीव ददृशे तथा गंधर्वलोके लोके. Water is not always very clear, nor is it steady. Its fluid nature prevents clarity of vision. So does that mean that spiritual knowledge cannot be gained very clearly in any other place except this world? Fortunately, it is not so. In Brahmaloka, you can see the light and shadow very clearly. Chaya tapayo riva brahmaloke. In the same way, the knowledge gained here by the grace of Brahmaji and gained there by the grace of Brahmaji is also very clear. Thus, there are only two places where the truth can be realized with great clarity in Brahmartyaloka, the world of the mortals, or in the Brahmaloka, the world of the Creator. However, one should not become lazy and complacent, thinking that one can get the realization later in Brahmaloka. Even to attain the Brahmaloka, one has to perform a lot of Punya Karma and Upasanas. It takes a very long time, and of course, there is a possibility of that, of not reaching there at all. Therefore, do not wait. Put all your efforts towards gaining the knowledge of the truth right now, as you have already gained a human body. All we have to do is to clean the mirror of our mind, and the method is clearly given by Goswami Tulsidas in Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nijamana Mukuru Sudhari. I clean the mirror of my mind with the dust of the lotus feet of the Guru. Clean the mind with Guru Bhakti and Ishwar Bhakti. When the requisite qualities for a realization like Viveka, Vairagya and Shat Sampatti are enumerated. It may sound frightening, but devotion to the Guru and God is the best and easiest method to clean and purify the mind. One may ask, what is the evidence that realization in Pitraloka or Gandharvaloka is not clear? Shastra is the Praman. Can there be a great authority than Yamaraj himself to tell us about it? Bhagavan Shankaracharya gives the reason for the hazy knowledge. He points out that In these lokas, the mind is more extrovert. It has kama and bhoga asakti. Those with higher standard of living get attached to comfort and luxury. Some get more involved in the variety of entertainment in Gandharva Loka. Such minds become more extroverted. There are people who may not believe in this, but Swami Akhandananda Maharaj of Vrindavan has pointed out an interesting fact that even while living in this world, some people live in the Pitru or Gandharva Lokas. Some children are very attached to their parents and constantly worry about them and vice versa. Imagine a 70-year-old man worrying about his 40-year-old son. Such attachments create a deep sense of ahanta and mamata, I and mine. The sense of ahanta makes some people think they are indispensable. Such minds have difficulty in apprehending the truth. Artists feel unhappy at the slightest imperfection in their work or performance. Even this knowledge of the truth would only be a burden for them. Bharo jnanam cha raginaha. They will not be able to actualize it. We see this often in daily life. A person may have some spiritual knowledge but gets worried at the slightest disturbance in life. Once somebody asks Once somebody asked a great artist, "We are so moved by your performance, but please tell us what moves you." He replied, "A large audience and lots of money." I am not criticizing the artists, but when the mind is preoccupied with other things, the knowledge does not take root. The singer will keep thinking how he could sing better. Authors are attached to their words and don't like editors. And editors are not happy unless they change some words. Even brahmacharis and study group sevaks keep thinking of their classes and how to put across the points instead of applying it to themselves. This is how the mind gets entangled in the world outside. It is good to have knowledge and expertise, but if the Lord is forgotten, then it is of no use. Mirabai also sang and danced, but her mind was on the Lord, not just the music or dance. For an extroverted mind, the knowledge will be hazy and wavering. So we must make the effort right now in this body, for this is the best time and place to get the supreme knowledge. After all this explanation, Dharmaraja once again points out how to realize this truth and what will be the result. इन्द्रियाणां पृथग्भावमुदयास्तमयौ च यत् पृथगुत्पद्यमानानां मत्वा धीरो न शोचति. For a dhira, a wise person who has become enlightened by developing viveka, vairagya and guru bhakti, the final result of the knowledge is that he does not grieve over anything, na shochati. The technique of gaining the knowledge is also given. We have five sense organs, each of which separately came into existence from the five subtle elements or tanmatras. The sense of hearing, Shrotrendriya, came from Akasha, the sense of touch from Vayu, the sense of sight from Agni, the sense of taste, the Rasanendriya, from water, and the sense of smell, the Granendriya, from Prithvi. Each sense organ is distinct from the other. The eyes can only see, they cannot hear. The ears can only hear, they, the nose can only smell. The tongue alone can taste, and the skin can only feel touch. The point is that one sense organ cannot know the object of another sense organ. Each one is limited to its own field of perception. This being so, how can they know Paramatma? The sense organs are products of the five elements, being the effects. They cannot be permanent, they will go, and even while functioning, their perceptions are limited. Eyes cannot see all forms, and ears cannot hear all sounds. So, the vision of truth, Paramatma Darshan, is not possible for the senses. Moreover, there is the cycle of Udaya Astamana, rising and setting. In the waking state, Udaya, all the senses function fully and we see the gross material world. In dream, the physical aspect of the senses is closed. The senses cannot perceive or interact with the gross objects of the world. We see only that mind. We see only what the mind projects in the dream. In deep sleep, there is complete astamana and we see nothing. We wonder who illumines all this, seeing and not seeing, who is aware and conscious of the senses, their objects, and their contact. The mind receives the inputs of the senses and the intellect processes them. There is a set of experiences in the waking state and another in the dream state who is aware of all this. It is that Atma Tattva which is not a product of the five elements nor an object of the senses. It is Shuddha Chaitanya Swarup with no Udaya or Astamana. Nodeti Nastamayatmetyesha. This Durdusha Vivek, 5th verse. This Chaitanya is my own self, not the body or senses or the mind and intellect. If you identify only with body and senses or the mind intellect, then you also keep rising and falling with their varying states. But one who knows that this Atma Tattva is this own self goes beyond all sorrows. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Chandogya Upanishad 7.1.3. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Here this mantra says Matva Dhiro na Shochati. The sorrow shoka is because of delusion moha, because we do not know our true self and mistakenly identify with the body, mind, intellect. So every experience is shoka or leads to shoka. Incidentally, some people are fond of this shoka. They are worried how to pass their time if there is nothing to worry about. In the final turn, in the final run, we should not wait to reach the other lokas, but here in the Martya Loka itself, we should strive to know the truth. May God bless us, bless one and all. Beyond FOMO, courageously crafting tomorrow, valuing money without being a slave to it. Vinay Bharadwaj for everyone here, especially at this stage in life, money holds significant importance. But navigating a relationship with it can be quite challenging. There are people in this room who might consider pursuing specific paths solely for the financial reward. However, many of them are still in the early stages of their relationship with money. They may be living off their parents' support and don't fully grasp what it means to earn a living. For some, part-time jobs offer a glimpse, uh, but what should their relationship with money be? Pujya Swami Swarupananda said, let money not be your ultimate goal, but at the same time, don't deny its rightful place in the life. This article has been transcribed and edited from Beyond FOMO, Episode 1. Courageously Crafting Tomorrow, Swami Swarupananda and Vinay Bharadwaj. This episode of Town Hall can be viewed on Chinmay channel. Money isn't everything, of course, but let not pretend it's nothing either. It sustains us, supports our families, and helps society function. That's why in our scriptures, Narayan is wedded to Lakshmi. Without resources and production, how can there be sustenance? Without resources and production, how can there be sustenance? The trouble begins when people become greedy and start treating money as the ultimate goal of life. That is the mindset we need to guard against. But it's also impractical to say, oh, we don't need money at all. If you genuinely believe that, then you must also be ready to live like a sannyasi, on the streets if necessary, or at the other extreme, live lavishly if life offers to you. The point is, your higher goals shouldn't depend on money. Let me share a little story from my own teenage years. Growing up in India, one of my cousins had returned from abroad. After working there for a few years back then, India wasn't as globalized as it is now. So anything from foreign was exciting for us. He came back proudly, showing off a pair of ballet shoes. He told us how much they cost, quite dramatically. At that time, Bata shoes cost rupees 30, while foreign brands were perhaps rupees 100, but this pair was rupees 5000. The very next day, he couldn't find his shoes and began panicking. Finally, he asked the maid. This was someone who had looked after him since childhood, like a second mother. She smiled and asked, "Why do you want those shoes?" "Because I want to wear them. On these dirty Indian roads, you want to wear shoes worth rupees 5000. For her, the amount was probably equal to a year's income or more. He insisted, "Please just give me my shoes." Now, this maid was no ordinary servant. She was so trusted that the keys of the Godrej cupboards where the family kept their jewelry and also valuables were in her possession. So she opened the cupboard, and there, on the top shelf, wrapped neatly, lay the precious shoes. No matter how expensive a shoe is, it's still meant for your feet, not for your head. Only Ramachandraji's sandals were worthy of being carried on the head. A guru's sandal too are treated that way. But money is meant to serve you. Never let it become your master. Don't turn yourself into a slave chasing it endlessly. At the same time, don't underestimate its value. Money matters. It isn't very smart to think otherwise. However, don't pursue your dreams solely for the sake of making money. Pursue them because you believe in them. Be prepared for whatever comes your way, even if it means living a simpler life. Learn to understand the proper place of wealth in your life. Yes, most careers are tied to earning a living, but money itself should not be your primary motivation. Think about your aptitude, your talents, and the skills you have developed. Think about how you can bring something fresh, something meaningful to your profession, your career, and your life. Strive to be a pioneer in your field. That's the real goal. Leader or follower shaping your path. Wonderful, Swamiji. Another challenge that many students face in it is in their circle of friends. Some may be more focused on studies while others are less so. Some genuinely wish to study yet find themselves distracted by those around them. Often it becomes about what friends are doing. Someone says, "Let us go out," or "We will see tomorrow," and gradually one's own priorities slip away. Though we do have a choice in selecting our friends, the real test lies in maintaining focus while resisting the urge to simply because of impress others, to simply please or impress others. This struggle is not limited to friendships alone. It can also appear in relationships, whether with a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or even within peer groups. Ourselves and are convinced of our goals. Everything else नहीं तो खाली है peer reviews. It is an important aspect of students for such influence can easily see if we love ourselves and are convinced of our goals. Everything else will fall into place, including the company we keep. We will naturally attract like minded people. For example, my own brother is a very nice man and quite successful, but his friends were all fun loving. They weren't bad people, no addictions or anything, but they weren't interested in study. My own friends were also enjoyable to be around, but they were focused on their studies. We also took time to enjoy life, but when it came to exams, it was important to surround ourselves with those who were studying. Even if friends who had enjoyed their years were a bit desperate at the last minute, I had the chance to help them during the exam period. I encouraged them to sit down and study. Whether you choose to be a follower or a leader is up to you, but if you are going to follow someone, make sure it's someone who is headed in the direction of your goals. Absolutely. How many of you in this room experience distractions because of friends who are not on the same wavelength as you? A couple of hands are slowly going up. Many of us get distracted by those around us, as Swamiji pointed out. So please choose to follow someone who will guide you on the path of your studies, or be that guiding person for others. If someone decides not to be friends with you because you are not entertaining them, then that friendship doesn't hold any real value. Right, Swamiji? Yes, but remember, support each other in the right direction. Strategies for exam day claim calm. When I make movies and a release date approaches, I always feel butterflies in my stomach, wondering what's going to happen. It feels like just like an exam day. That mix of anticipation about how the audience will react and whether the critics will like it or not. I am sure students experience something very similar the day before their exams. So, what should a student really do just one day before the big exam? The most important thing is to focus on calming your mind. Very often we compartmentalize religion and spirituality, treating them as separate areas of our lives, not realizing how much they can help us manage stress. Instead of simply praying, "Oh God, please let me pass this exam," try to make prayer or quiet reflection a regular part of your practice. Spend a little time settling your mind through chanting, prayer, or japa, not with the pressures of getting specific results, but to bring peace and stability within yourself. If you are feeling tense, remember adding more stress only complicates things. Find a quiet, peaceful space in your home. It doesn't have to be a prayer room, even a quiet corner will do. You don't need to spend the entire day in japa or meditation. Even a short while can make a big difference. Even if you don't use a mantra, try repeating simple positive affirmations to yourself. I am confident, I am prepared. Avoid thoughts like I don't know what's going on to happen. Remember what you fear. You often attract. Our minds have a way of manifesting what we dwell upon. Think positively. You are your own best friend and at times your own worst enemy. No friend outside can help you as much as you can help yourself. And no enemy outside can harm you as much as you can harm yourself. So, nurture a mindset that strengthens you. Believe in your own preparation, your own effort, and your own strength. Embracing healthy celebrations. Swamiji, I have one last question. Most students feel like they are stuck in a loop, like being in a mixture grinder, studying 12 to 14 hours a day. We have discussed how to handle the day before an exam. But what about after the exams are over? It's like finishing a movie. Once all the work is done, there is suddenly a void. Hrithik Roshan once shared how, after working on the movie Fighter for months, he felt lost when it ended and turned to smoking to fill the emptiness. I am glad you brought up this question because it reminds me of how, after finishing exams, there is often a strong urge to celebrate. In my day, it was common to unwind by catching a movie or going out for a meal. Recently, during my visit to Australia, I noticed that when 12th standard exams end, students from different cities head off to places like Byron Bay or Bali to celebrate. It is as if they think, I have worked so hard, now it is time to let loose. However, I urge you to be mindful. Don't let, don't let this newfound freedom undo all the discipline you have worked so hard to build. It's perfectly fine to have fun, but choose activities that aren't addictive or harmful to your well being. This awareness is crucial. No one else can make these choices on your behalf. There are certain things I feel compelled to mention, four in particular. First is addiction to alcohol and drugs. First is addiction to alcohol and drugs. Please don't take drinking lightly, even casually. I have seen people ruin their lives because of it. It is your life, be responsible for it. Don't assume you are immune to addiction. Even someone like Hrithik Roshan, known for his discipline, admitted to falling into smoking. Overcoming addiction isn't easy, even with detox programs. That's why organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous emphasizes vigilance. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. It's a reminder to stay mindful. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, or even something like coffee. While coffee isn't as harmful, any addictive behavior can limit you. There are countless healthy joys to explore. Focus on those. Second is gambling. I remember when we were younger, friendly bets were harmless. Things like, you will treat me today. But I have seen people lose entire family fortunes to gambling. Please be cautious. Third, although you may not have asked, something is coming quite a trend. having multiple partners. Be careful. Casual relationships often leave emotional and psychological scars for both people involved. Commitment matters. Lastly, and this might surprise you, both the Mahabharata and Ramayana warn against hunting, which symbolizes aggression and violence. Today, many films glorify anger, but we must recognize that we can hurt ourselves, others, not just through our actions, but also with our words and even our appearance. It's important to avoid these tendencies. These are gentle warnings. Ultimately, it's your life, so don't take unnecessary risks. Is Bhagavad Gita outdated? Swami Pranavananda. The Chinmay family celebrated the 21 days Tapogita Jayanti feast from December 5th to 25th, 2020. Each evening, Swamin's and mission from all over the world discoursed on one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in English. Furthermore, Swami's brahmacharis and sevaks spoke on Is Bhagavad Gita outdated in various languages. A presenter translated, edited, and brief summary of Swami Pranavananda's talk in Creole, delivered on December 19, 2020. Swamiji is based at Chinmay Mission, Mauritius. This article highlights some of the key points to enjoy the complete talk. See Chinmay channel. Our prostrations to the eternal tradition of the Guru Shishya Parampara and the timeless Dharma. Greetings to all ardent seekers of the knowledge of the Gita. Does the Gita offer a solution to all the problems of humankind? It is indeed pertinent to understand how this beautiful scripture presents a unique and universal solution to man's challenges. Sanatana Dharma stands firmly upon the foundation of the Vedas, the Puranas, and the Itihasas, such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata, known as Jaya, the victory, is revered as the fifth Veda. The 18 chapters of the Gita guides us from weakness and despondency to strength and victory, just as they did for Arjuna. The Mahabharata war arose from the blind king Dhritarashtra's deep attachment to his son Duryodhana. Sanjaya narrates to Dhritarashtra all that transpired on the battlefield. The salient teachings of Sri Krishna are: there is no cause for grieving over anything or anyone or anything, whether living or dead. Arjun's problem stems from his egocentric identity. He must realize his true immortal nature. The performance of one's duty is of utmost importance. Even the physical body cannot be maintained without action. Actions performed in the spirit of yajna do not bind the individual. Instead, they lead to liberation. There was a great succession of gurus and disciples who preserved this sacred knowledge. Though lost for a time, Bhagavan revived it again. One must uplift oneself through one's own efforts. No one else is truly one's friend or enemy. Seekers of this supreme knowledge are rare. Only a few truly attain it in its essence. Rise above the impurities of the mind with the help of the scriptures. Renounce identification with the mind, body, mind, and intellect. Surrender to God and be free. Grieve no more. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Abandon all dharmas and take refuge in me alone. I shall liberate you from all sins. Do not grieve. In conclusion, Sanjay proclaims that wherever Lord Yogeshwar, Krishna, and the valiant Arjun stand, there alone will be prosperity, victory, and happiness. Hari Om. Science meets Vedanta on Prarabdha and Purushartha. Appara Mukamala. Dr. Appara Mukamala was blessed to meet Puja Gurudev in 1977. Thereafter, he hosted numerous yajnas and Chinmay family retreats and was granted the privilege of being closely involved in Puja Gurudev's health care, including during the heart surgery in 1980 and the sacred days preceding Gurudev's Mahasamadhi in 1993. Dr. Mukamala has served on the board of directors of Chinmay Mission West since 1980 and has also contributed his leadership to Chinmay Organization for Rural Development and called USA Incorporation and Chinmay Evaluation Education Foundation, etc. He is the founder of Chinmay Vijaya Orphanage and serves as managing trustee of Chinmay Vishwavidyapit, CVV, a radiologist by profession. He is also board certified by the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine, dedicating all his work and service as an offering to Pujya Gurudev's feet. Introduction. In both science and spirituality, a long-standing tension exists between fate and free will, destiny and self-determination, and inheritance and transformation. In modern biomedical science, the conversation centers on genetics, our inherited DNA, and epigenetics, which refers to the very environmental and lifestyle factors influence the expression of these genes. In the spiritual tradition of Vedanta, these concepts resonate with Prarabdha Karma, destiny, and Purushartha, self-effort, conscious action. Let us explore if and how these ancient and modern frameworks harmonize. Let us examine how genes represent Prarabdha, our given destiny, and how epigenetics reflects Purushartha, the noble human capacity to shape and elevate life through conscious efforts. Drawing from Vedanta and integrating insights from innovative science, let us explore the transformative power of choice in a seemingly deterministic world. Genes as Prarabdha, the script we are born with. Genes are segments of DNA passed from parents to offspring. They carry instructions that determine everything from eye color and height to susceptibility to disease and psychological traits. They are fixed at conception and can be thought of as the biological script we inherit. In Vedanta, Prarabdha karma is that portion of accumulated karma, sanchita, that has begun to bear fruit in his lifetime, in this lifetime. It determines our current birth, the body we are born into, our lifespan, and many of the major events of our lives. Both genetics and prarabdha are unchosen and largely beyond control at the outset. They provide the playing field, but not the entire game. Epigenetics as Purushartha, the power of self effort. Epigenetics refers to modifications that affect gene expression without altering the underlying DNA sequence. Factors like diet, stress, sleep, physical activities, exposure to toxins, and even meditation can turn certain genes on or off. These changes are reversible, influenced by behavior, and sometimes inheritable. This is the field where environment meets biology, where choice matters. Purushartha in Vedanta refers to the four goals of human life: dharma, righteous living; artha, prosperity; kama, desire; and moksha, liberation. More broadly, it represents the power of conscious will and effort to shape oneself, one's destiny, even within the boundaries set by Prarabdha. The Bhagavad Gita states, Uddharit Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasarayet Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuratmaiva Ripuratmana. Let a man lift himself by his own self. Let him not degrade himself, for the self alone is the friend of all of the self, and the self alone is the enemy of the self. Integrating Vedantic parallels with lifestyle medicine. Modern lifestyles, modern lifestyle medicine aims to prevent the reverse chronic disease by modifying the same epigenetic factor: diet, exercise, sleep, stress, social connection, and purpose in life. Striking these lifestyle pillars are the very are the very tools recommended by the ancient rishis for spiritual evolution and self mastery. Science and Vedanta, a mirror of concepts. Scientific concept, Vedantic analogy, explanation. Genes, prarabdha, inherited DNA or karma, fixed at birth, not alterable in this life. Epigenetics, Purushartha, modifiable genes, expression through lifestyle choices and conscious effort. Diseases, Vyadhi, manifestation of imbalance as karma in Vedanta, or biological disruption in science. Health, healing, Shuddhi, Sanskara, purification and rebalancing through tapas, sadhana, and right living. Epigenetic research suggests that mindfulness practices, including yoga and meditation, can influence gene expression reduce inflammation, and improve resilience. From a Vedantic view, these practices burn the seeds of future karma, promote sattva purity, and lead the soul where toward moksha. Is Prarabdha truly fixed? Classical Vedanta acknowledges that Prarabdha must bear fruit, but also it is experienced, can be softened or intensified through self effort, grace, and attitude. Consider this analogy. You are given a script, genes, Prarabdha, but you are also the actor, Purushartha. You may not be able to change the storyline entirely, but you can alter your delivery, your attitude, and your improvisations. The Yoga Vasishtha sage Vasishtha in Yoga Vasishtha sage Vasishtha teaches that human effort is the ultimate determinant of destiny, which is merely the fruit of past actions, not a separate force. Even Sri Ramanuja emphasizes that divine grace and self effort exists in harmony. One must strive through bhakti and ethical living while also acknowledging what is allotted. Real life examples: diabetes and heart disease, genetic predisposition can be mitigated through lifestyle choices such as a plant based diet, regular exercise, and stress management. Trauma and mental health genes linked to mental illness may be activated by trauma but can be modulated through mindfulness, mantra, and therapy. These illustrate how karma and seeds may exist, but how our Purushartha transforms their outcome. The role of grace and Guru. In Vedanta, particularly in Bhakti traditions, grace, anugraha, and the guidance of the Guru are essential. Just as certain epigenetic shifts require external triggers, the presence of a Guru or Satsang can catalyze inner transformation beyond what is possible through effort alone. As Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda pointed out, destiny is the result of your past actions, but the future is in your hands. Act now. Implications for aging, health, and liberation. Understanding this model has profound implications. You are not a prisoner of your genes. Aging is modifiable through lifestyle. Suffering can become a vehicle for growth. Spiritual practices reshape body, mind, and intellect. Science shows that even telome- telomeres, a telomere is a protective structure found at the ends of chromosomes. Science shows that even telomeres can lengthen with yoga and meditation. This echoes the Vedantic claim that the jiva can transcend bondage through sadhana and jnana. The longer the telomere, the longer the life. Our genes are our prarabdha, our inherited starting point. But we are not just our genes. Through awareness, intention, and disciplined efforts, Purushartha, we can shape our biology, our mind, and our destiny. Vedanta does not deny the existence of fate, it teaches us to transcend it. Science affirms that while we may not choose our genes, we can certainly choose how they are expressed. By aligning effort with Dharma and science mm, with sadhana, we reclaim our power not just to live but to live consciously, healthfully, and freely. The inheritability of epigenetic changes beyond the genetic code. For decades, it was believed that DNA was the immutable script of life, our fate written in a double helix. The Human Genome Project reinforced this narrative, expecting to decode the mysteries of health, disease, and destiny through the study of genes alone. However, emerging discoveries in epigenetics have revolutionized this view, revealing that gene expression can be altered without changing the underlying DNA sequence, and more importantly, that some of these epigenetic changes are heritable across generations. Let us explore the concept of epigenetic inheritance, where environmental, nutritional, behavioral, and psychological factors can leave marks not just on an individual but on their descendants. It challenges the idea that inheritance is purely genetic and introduces a more dynamic understanding of how lifestyle, stress, trauma, and healing can ripple through generations. Epigenetics refers to modifications to gene expressions that do not involve changes to the DNA sequence itself. These modifications include DNA methylation, addition of methyl groups to DNA, typically silencing gene expression. Histone modification, chemical changes to histone proteins around which DNA is wrapped, affecting how tightly DNA is packed. Non coding RNA, molecules that can regulate gene expression post transcriptionally. transcriptionally. These changes can be triggered by factors such as diet, environmental toxins, physical activity, stress, and trauma. Meditation and maternal health during pregnancy. Epigenetic changes are essential to cell differentiation and psychological adoption. However, some changes are passed on to transgenerationally, Can epigenetic changes be inherited? The classical view of inheritance held that only changes to the DNA sequence mutations are heritable. However, recent research has revealed that epigenetic marks can sometimes escape the cellular reprogramming process that occurs during embryonic development and persist across multiple generations. Key definitions: intergenerational inheritance. When epigenetic marks affect the immediate offspring, F1 generation. Transgenerational inheritance. When effects are seen in generations beyond the first F2, F3, particularly when the germline was not directly exposed. Animal and human studies. Animal models, agouti mouse model, nutritional changes in pregnant mice affected gene expression and phenotype in offspring. Pesticide exposure, rodents exposed to vinculozolin showed reproductive and disease related epigenetic changes passed to several generations. Trauma in mice. Early life trauma led to anxiety behaviors and gene changes in descendants. Human studies. Dutch hunger winter. Children and grandchildren of famine exposed individuals had altered gene expression and higher disease risk. Overcalyx study. Swedish data showing paternal grandfather's diet in puberty affected grandson's health. Holocaust survival studies. Epigenetic changes in stress regulation genes were observed in descendants. Mechanisms of epigenetic inheritance. Incomplete reprogramming. Some DNA methylation marks escape erasure. Some coding RNA in sperm and eggs affect gene regulation in embryos. Histone retention in sperm. Epigenetic instructions passed through retained histones. Placental, placental influences. Maternal health affects fetal gene expression. These mechanisms demonstrate that biological memory extends beyond DNA. It encompasses context and experience. Vedantic reflections, karma across generations. The notion that our choices, traumas, and transformations can affect not only ourselves but also future generations is now no longer limited to metaphysics or theology. Epigenetics shows that biological memory can be passed down as an inheritance of lived experience, echoing Vedantic thought. Karma and sanskar as epigenetic imprints. यथा कार्ये यथा चारि तथा bhavati. As a man acts, as he conducts himself, so does he become. Epigenetic marks are the modern equivalents of samskaras, biochemical expressions of past karma. Prarabdha and inherited epigenome. सतिमूले तद्विपाको जात्यायुर्भोगः. बृहदारण्यक उपनिषद 4.4.5, Yoga Sutras 2.13. As long as the root of karma exists, its fruits will surely manifest as birth, lifespan, and experiences of pleasure and pain. Birth and life conditions result from karma. Our inherited epigenome is the physical expression of prarabdha karma, given, not chosen. Transgenerational karma and rebirth. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Just as the embodied soul continuously passes from childhood to youth to old age, similarly at the time of death the soul passes into another body, carrying karmic and epigenetic memory, dharma and responsibility across generations. कुर्यात् वेदवांस तथा सप्तश्चिकीर्षुर लोक संग्राम. Gita 3.25. The wise unattached should act wishing to uphold the world's welfare. Epigenetics supports Vedanta's ethical call to live in harmony for the welfare of future generations. Grace, purification and reversibility. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tat agacchati. Gita 6.40. The doer of good never comes to a bad end. Epigenetic imprints like karma can be purified by sadhana, tapas and conscious living, reframing disease and suffering. Disease is the unfolding of epigenetic and karmic impressions, not a punishment but an opportunity for healing. Implications for lifestyle medicine. Preconception care affects multiple generations. Paternal health is crucial, influencing sperm epigenetics. Mind-body practices may rewrite epigenetic risk. Public health must consider the environmental, how we love, grieve and grow leaves biochemical imprints not just on ourselves but potentially on generations to come. Vedanta agrees karma travels but moksha, liberation is always possible. Purushartha enables us to consciously shape our future and positively influence the destiny of others with wisdom and compassion. Genes load the gun, but environment pulls the trigger, and epigenetics decides whether it fires. This metaphor synthesizes ideas popularized by Nobel laureate Elizabeth Blackburn, the telomere effect, and researcher George Bray in obesity studies and has since been extended in the scientific literature to include epigenetics as the decisive factor in how genetic predispositions are expressed. Or as the Gita says, karmanyaiva कर्मणानैव हि कर्मण्यैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः. Through action alone, the wise attained perfection. Mananam from study to silence 1. Parvati Raman. Tapovan Prasad presents a new feature, Mananam from study to silence, wherein members of a study group share discussions on their personal applications in life on a particular topic. We trust this series will encourage other members to write about various perspectives and reflections in their respective study groups. Given below is a recollection of a lively discussion in the study group named Chinmay Aradhana in Pune, Aundh, in the first week of May 2025. All the names used here are fictitious. The central gem of the Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Jana Puryupasate, Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. To those who worship me alone, thinking of no other, to those ever self-controlled, I secure for them that which they do not yet possess, and preserve for them that which they already possess. Sevika. Having seen the simple meaning of this word, let us analyze in greater depth some of the implications herein. Let us begin by looking at the various meanings of the word Ananya, Anjana. It is said that those who think of me and nothing other than me, Ananya, and worship me are taken care of by Bhagwan. I agree that we can think of him often, pray to him and worship him. But how can we do our work in the world if we do not think of anything other than him? Jharna. That point has already been explained in the chapters of Karma Yoga, where we perform all our activities by dedicating them to him and accepting whatever results come as prasada from him. So all our work becomes worship. Padmini. Perhaps Ananya means seeing God in everyone, not seeing the otherness in others. We can focus on the goodness in people rather than dwelling on their shortcomings and negativities. Jharna. Yes, of course. Whatever is Anya is Anatma. We have seen this in our discussions on Tattva and Viveka Chudamani. In everyone, the Sat and Chit aspects are there. The differences, the names and forms are Anya. They are what make them other. From the standpoint of existence, consciousness, we are all one. Anjana. All that is fine as long as we are talking of the highest philosophy. How do we translate it into our everyday life? Padmini. Well, we can treat others as we would like others to treat us, with a lot of love, trying to understand their point of view, not finding faults with them. All the time tough, but we can try. Doesn't Ananya also means thinking of God as not other than me. Riya, of course, God is other than me. What will I do without Him? With every difficulty and challenge in life, I run to Him. But yes, I worship Krishna and I pray to Him, not to any other God. Anjana, I pray to Ganesh, but they are not different. In Ganapati Atharvashirsha that I chant every day, it is said, Tvam Brahma, Tvam Vishnustam, Rudrastam, Indrastam, Agnistam, Vayustam, Suryastam, Chandrastam, Brahma, Ghor, Bhuvaswaram. God is the same in whatever form, with whatever name we worship Him, Ananya. Sevika. That's a very beautiful explanation. But what about my question? Is God other than me? If God is everything, then how can I be other than Him? Jharna. If I am other than Him, won't that limit Him? He is all pervasive. Vedanta tells us Tattvamasi. Even if I don't understand it fully, I can at least think of Him as the closest to me, dearest to me, seated in my very heart. One who knows my every thought, and without whom I cannot even remain alive. Isn't that Ananya? Isn't that Ananya? Sevika, yes, of course. This shloka is at the very heart of the Bhagavad Gita, the very center of the entire text. Therefore, it is crucial for us to think deeply about it. After all, the purpose of the study group is to do Mananam. Jharna. So Ananya can be viewed from the standpoint of Bhakti and also of Jnana. From both angles, he is Ananya. Sevika, well said. Do you remember Guruji's talk on Narad Bhakti Sutra? Anya Sharayanam Tyago Ananyata. Giving up dependence on all other things. Ausani. Ek bharoso, ek bala, ek aas vishwas. Vaishali. Isn't that from Ramcharitmanas? Ausani, yes, but I don't remember where exactly. Priya, that doesn't matter. All I have to understand is that he is the sole refuge by all in all. Anjana, how can I give up my independence on my son and daughter-in-law? They take care of me now that I am too old to live on my own. Hausini, he alone takes care of you through them. It is enough to remember that. Sevika. So, that brings us to the Yoga Kshemam. He has thousands of hands and feet. Sahasra Shirasha Purusha, Sahasraksha Sahasra Sapata. He may not come to us as Ganesha Krishna, but he may come in any form, in all names and forms, and all names and forms are his alone. Padmini, I can understand the Kshemam, that he takes care of us and all that belongs to us. What about yoga? The simple meaning that we saw in this context was that yoga is acquiring things and Kshema is their maintenance. But as a serious seeker, I gave up acquiring things long ago. So, can I understand yoga as uniting with Bhagavan? Vaishali, brilliant. That's what all of us want. If Bhagavan himself helps us to unite with him and then keeps us with him forever, what more can we ask for? Jharna. All the knowledge we acquire is his grace alone, and he protects that knowledge so that it is not forgotten in times of need. Sevika, very true. Moreover, Bhagavan takes the responsibility of carrying the burden Vahamyaham, whether it is the worldly burdens or the difficult task of acquiring knowledge. Hansini. I recall a story related to this context. One great devotee, Jagannath Mishra, wrote a commentary on the Gita. When he came to this verse, he felt that Vahamyaham I carry was not befitting the Lord. It should be Yogakshemam Dadamyaham I give or grant them Yogakshamam. So he cut the slok and made the correction. Then he went for a bath in the river nearby. That day there was no vegetable in the house, and his wife was at her wits' end, getting annoyed at her husband, who could think of nothing else but the commentary on hand. Just then a young boy came carrying a basket full of fresh vegetables on his head and said, "Your husband wanted me to deliver this." The wife prepared a good meal, and by that time the husband returned. That smells yummy. Where did you get the veggies? Oh, well, you only sent them. Don't tell me you have forgotten that too. The husband scratched his head. Who brought them? I don't know. A young boy came carrying the basket of vegetable on his head. The husband sat up, alert, carrying on his head, and he never sent anyone. Could it be? Could it? Quickly he opened the commentary and with a thoughtful look erased the correction he had made. By then his eyes were brimming with tears. He gave darshan to his wife. Sevika, what a moving anecdote. Vaishali, basically I should have the eye to see. When I am beset with sorrows, I must remember that Bhagavan is giving those sorrows to unite yoga. Me with him, isn't that why Mother Kunti prayed for more and more sorrows from Bhagavan Shri Krishna, so that she would always remember him with great intensity? Sevika, so both the yoga and kshema are his prasadam. But there is one more word we have to look at. Nityaviyuktanam, Priya, and also Paryupasate. Sevika, yes. Can anyone explain these terms? Priya. The word Paryupasate could be to worship him all around, seeing everything and everyone around us as his manifestation alone, or it could be worshipping him in every possible way, in and through all my activities. I must remember him, that he alone functions through my body. Of course, I don't have to tell anyone all this. I can continue to do my daily work, keeping him in my heart. Padmini. Gurudev says in his commentary that Nityabhiyuktanam refers to self-control. One has to be disciplined in spiritual life, following all the instructions of sadhana chatushtay. But isn't the sadhana also Bhagavan alone? It is his energy that makes it possible for me to do anything. So he alone is the goal and the means to the sadhya and sadhana. Sadhya and sadhana. Priya. So, from the angle of devotion, one should always have him in mind, wondering what his will is at any given situation. Sevika, yes. And we can now see how there is a clear movement towards devotion in the next text. And soon we will study the 12th chapter, which is exclusively about devotion. I think we can conclude the session with this. Please continue the Mananam throughout the week and share your thoughts in the group. Listen to our Swamis on Chinmay channel and chinfo.org and read their articles in Tapovan Prasad. Remember, Ananya Prokte Gatirasya Nasti Kathopanishad 1.2.8 Hari Om. The light that I am, Vikram Morarka. I need to know myself to be sunlight. I am not the water in the pail, nor I am the reflection of the sun. Whether dull or maybe bright, I must surely be sunlight. I need to know myself to be sunlight if the water spills from the pail, or the pail itself is broken down, I shall still be there, right? That is the way with sunlight. I need to know myself to be sunlight, or do I know myself as the pail, or as hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1? What, pray, is my insight? Gurudev tells me I am sunlight. I need to know myself to be sunlight, for if I am the water in the pail, then I am limited to only one. Limitation does not feel alright. Better for me to be sunlight. I need to know myself to be sunlight, but there does not stop the trail. Behind the sunlight is the sun. My thoughts should soar like the kite. I am the sun and the sunlight. Chinmay Vijay Annual Report. Twenty 24-25 Chinmay Organization for Rural Development. Hari Om salutations. Chinmay Vijay Orphanage is an apolitical, non-governmental, all-girls orphanage founded by Dr. Sumati and Appara Mukamala. It is in Kaza village, Guntur district, Andhra Pradesh, India. Please visit website Chinmay Vijaya. For more information, Chinmay Vijaya. Harim salutations with folded hands and hearts full of gratitude. We present the annual report of Chinmay Vijaya for 2024-25 by the grace of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji, blessings of Guruji Swami Tejomayanandaji and Pujya Swami Surumanandaji, and the support of all trustees, well-wishers and sevaks. This year has been one of growth, joy and renewed inspiration. Blossoms of success. 4 of our girls graduated from NRI Nursing College with honors and are now employed in NRI Hospital. 3 have completed their engineering and are seeking employment. 4 grad scholars are pursuing computer science engineering at Chinmay Vishwavidyapith CVV, where they blend modern science with Indian wisdom. 1 student from Kerala represented the state in a robotics competition in Singapore. Post-graduation, Tirumala is studying for MDS at Geetam University, and Gayatri is pursuing a master's in psychology in Bengaluru. A highlight for the year was the alumni reunion held in April when over 30 graduates returned home to the ashram that nurtured them. Alumni achievements lighting the world. The true measure of Chinmay Vijaya's success lies in the lives our Rise in the lives our daughters are building after stepping out of our care. They now serve in hospitals, IT firms, and corporate offices across India. Notable among them are Soyam Jhansi, Kim's Hospital Hyderabad, Sahiti Jogi TCS Hyderabad, Rupa M Suntech Solutions Bengaluru, and Vasavi HCL Chennai. Many others serve as nurses and accountants in reputable institutions. A growing family we joyfully welcomed 21 new girls this year, bringing our strength to over 100. Each child is nurtured with education, love, and Vedantic values, growing into strong, compassionate citizens. Campus renewal, marking 18 years of Chinmay Vijaya. We renovated our campus for greater safety and comfort, like the eternal self. Our ashram remains ever youthful in spirit, even as it renews in form. Guidance and leadership. Chinmay Vijaya is ably managed by Nilima and Ramakrishna with spiritual guidance from Swami Suvirananda. Our advisory committee, comprising of Narasaraju Mantena, Dr. Sridhar Koneru, Mrs. Sharada Yargadda, Shri C. Koteshwara Rao, and Shri Raman Kumar, retired IPS, provides valuable guidance and direction. Global Seva. Volunteers from USA continue to teach academics and spiritual subjects via Zoom, enriching our children with global exposure while grounding them in Indian culture. Gratitude and invitation. We remain deeply grateful for the love and support that sustain this mission. Every success story carries your blessings. We warmly invite you to visit Chinmay Vijaya. Your presence uplifts and inspires our children. As Gurudev reminds us to give is to grow. With your continued love and His grace, we look forward to another year of Seva, transformation, and light. With love and gratitude, Sumati and Apparao Kamala, September 19, 2025. Hari Om. Shri Chinmaya Sadguruve Namaha. Om Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.